It's all.
There's I guess there's a lot of ground to cover. I guess starting with your roster, I can't imagine last year putting the roster together had to be tough, but I can't picture what it's going to look like. Can you talk about what you know and what you don't know yet?
Yeah, the rosters are, I think, across the country are still in the same predicament as last summer. Big rosters. There's a lot of kids in the transfer portal, kids from here that are in, and yeah, it's and then you throw the draft on top of it. They moved it back to July. I mean, so they could have it around the All-Star game. They didn't really think about Division I coaches too much because it's put us in a bind. You know, there's borderline kids that, as far as if they're going to sign or not, that we don't know if they're going to be here. There's high school kids that we've recruited. You know, it's definitely number one on the list to try to get it straightened out. And we're going to be put in it's going to be a rush after the draft, let's put it that way. So just trying to investigate, talk to kids, find out what they're really thinking as far as signing, coming to school. So but we're working on it, and but numbers are still up everywhere.
Okay, and I got one more, and then I might circle back. But switching gears completely, when you reflect back on the year, you know, you've had a week. What did you think? It's a spectacular year, but you didn't get to Omaha.
Yeah, you know, we achieved everything we wanted to do except getting to Omaha and, you know, winning the national championship. And we got beat by a really good team, older team, experienced team, and they had a really good left-handed closer that didn't give us much. But you know, really proud of this team. This team was picked third or fourth in the West by the coaches. Most of and a few other polls, you know, we were picked second or third, and we beat everybody. I mean, we beat them all, and they showed up. And I've said it 50 times this spring that they showed up every day, played hard, and tried to win. And you can say that teams do that, but we backed it up, and they did it. And it'll be a season that I'll never forget. You know, 50 wins against really the toughest schedule in the country, and I don't even think it was close. So, you know, we played great. Neutral sites, I think we were like 6 or 7-0 on the road. We won big time on the road, mostly against ranked teams, and at home we played really well, you know, as well. So had some great players that had really good season. Had some players that had okay season, but they showed up every day. And no, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what happened. And as far as, you know, from day one when we started playing to the end of the season, take away the last 2 games, it was an unbelievable season.
Nate?
Yeah, Dave, just kind of was with summer ball, kind of what plans do you have for guys like Hayden Wallace and Jackson Wiggins and some of the other ones that you know are coming back?
Well, they're going to be out and about playing all over the country. Wiggins is going to go with Team USA for, I guess, about a 17-day tour. So Robert Moore, and then they'll probably go play a little bit more after that. I think that's, let's just say July 1st through the 17th, and then maybe go play a few more weeks after that and come back. But most of our guys are out. You know, they're already out or they're on their way to their destination, and you know, they get some at bats and throw some innings and hopefully get better.
You had some success with guys that stayed here and lifted weights in the summer. Are some of them doing that as well?
Some of the older guys are, you know, guys that I don't know necessarily you'd say they're waiting on the draft, but they know they're not going to sign. You know, they just want to get stronger and healthier. Yeah, there's definitely some of those guys hanging out this year. And, you know, right now we're still in this building. Hopefully we're going to move over to the new building in about 3 weeks.
And finally, Paulette, has he had surgery yet, or is there any plans for that?
Well, as of right now, there's no tear. We finally got the results, and he's rehabbing, and you know, he's going to start throwing in a couple of weeks, and if he goes pain-free, which he's pain-free now, you know, we're hoping, we got our fingers crossed that he's going to be okay.
Thank you.
Bob?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good, Bob.
You know, with COVID, there's a lot of guys, I guess, who can repeat their junior years. I mean, I'm thinking of guys like Slaves, even Goodhart, you could repeat his senior year. Nolan, Vermillion, Webb, Gregory. I got a lot of these names from Matt. Where do those guys stand with you?
Well, you just named a bunch of them. I mean, you want me to go through them one at a time, or, it's up to the draft?
Whatever you want to do, Dave. You won,
No,
2000 games.
we don't have that much time, probably. I mean, I'd say all the guys you mentioned, if they don't sign a professional contract, we'll come back. And, we'd like to get him back. So, example like Slavens, he's only 20 years old. He's very young. He's got 2 years of eligibility left in college. I would say Goodhart, he's got 1 year, and you could go on and on and on. Guys like Goodhart been around for a while. He would like to sign, but if he doesn't, I think you could see him back. But Opitz will end up signing. I think you might have mentioned Vermillion. I mean, as of right now, the plan's for him to come back. Nolan too.
And then Wicklander and Franklin, they had, pretty good years. Those guys definitely sign, even though they could come back as juniors, I guess.
I would project those two guys to sign. There may be a couple more in there that I think might sign, but I would say those two for sure.
And then with Cullen Smith and Lockhart, do they have another senior year? I'm a little confused by that.
No, they're out of eligibility.
Okay, and then you got a new catcher. He announced Michael Turner from Kent State. Are you able to talk about him?
Not at all.
Not yet? Okay. Never heard of him?
I would call him. I know that he's not just a catcher. He plays positions too.
Okay, but he's not a fit. Okay, well, I might have a couple more, but thanks.
Hutch?
Dave, I was wondering if you could maybe give us an update on how rehab is going for a few guys like Nick Griffin, Tyler Cacciatore, and Isaac Brocken. And do you think they'll be ready for fall?
Yeah, they're all in town working out. It's Isaac Bracken, I think the way we pronounce it, but they're all here. And I think if you talk about Nick Griffin, that Tommy John, it'll be a year in the fall. So we're hoping that he'll be able to pitch for us in 22. He's been here working hard. So, Bracken, I think he'll be ready to roll. Cacciatore, he's had a couple of things, but he's here working, and he's not throwing yet. So they're all work in progress, just normal stuff though.
And then also Charlie Welch, is he a guy you're expecting back next year? And is he a guy you've said he's been working at first base? Do you think that could be his position next year, or do you think he'll be kind of a DH still?
I think he just has to prove to us, where he needs to play. I can definitely see him hitting, obviously, and we are expecting him back. He's like everybody else. It's a new year. It's different. You got to come in and earn everything again. I mean, that's what our program's all about. And I think kids appreciate that. Obviously, if you have experience and you've been there and done that, you're usually going to do it again. But he was an incredible pinch hitter. He was a good hitter down the stretch for us. And, we didn't hit a lot in some games, and Charlie seemed to continue to hit. So we plan on him being right in the middle of things next year. Clay?
Coach, still working out there and recruiting. Is there something that you guys really need to get done in the next few weeks? I mean, I guess junior colleges are always opportunities.
Yeah, junior colleges, there's transfers and grad transfers. There's players that are leaving because their coaches have changed jobs. There's a lot going on. And that's why I mentioned it earlier, the draft being so late. I don't know what the advantage is. I think MLB decided they were going to have some more combines, and because of COVID, they could watch them longer and try to make a big deal of the first round around the All-Star game, which I know a lot of people in professional baseball, when they get those 3 days off, they go to the lake, they get to see their family. They're not going to be watching any of that. but I won't go into that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on, and do we need positions? I mean, yeah, you always need another guy. You need another hitter. You need another pitcher. We feel like we've got some things under control, but when the draft hits, who knows where we're going to be if there's some surprises. So we're trying to keep, track of everything and talk to everybody. And really before the draft, hopefully we'll know exactly what's going to go on.
So one last question. Kevin's kind of like you said, racking up awards and having a good month. Where do you think he fits in the draft, and what do the scouts tell you about his prospects?
I think Kevin will go pretty good in the draft. There's first off, he deserves it. Then on the negative part for him is that he's 24 years old. But, I think what we're getting out of it is that instead of starting a guy in low A, they're going to start him in high A, or just maybe send him to double A and see if he can get hitters out. And if he can, great. If I was guessing, I think he might go before the 5th round. And, but are they going to pay him what they should? Probably not, because of his age. Kevin could come back another year if he wanted. I don't see that. He's taken so much schooling. Right? He's where he needs to be academically. The draft is so tricky. They have X amount of money, each organization. They always try to save a little here, a little there, so they can pay a guy more than their slot. So you might see that come into play. But I would think before the draft that Kevin will, be talking to and he is talking to these teams, and maybe they'll get something worked out. If that team happens to pick him, then he can just go do his thing.
Where would you send him if you were a baseball man and made in pro ball? Where would you send him to double A?
Well, it's hard for me to speak for those guys because it's a different thing, but I'd say because of his age and his maturity, you could send him to a double A clubhouse right out of college, and he would be accepted by the players because of who he is and the way he acts and the way he works. They're going to like him. So I would send him to double A and say, hey, here you go. See what you can do. If it didn't go well, you could always send it back to high A, but that might be the way I would handle it. But it depends on personnel and who drafts him. And there's a lot of factors there. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Jason Carroll.
Coach, you mentioned the way he works. I don't know how many guys you've had take a professional-like approach to showing up and working every day like Kevin did with the extra workouts he did on his own, how he ate. How much of that really led to his success this year?
I think it was a big part of it. And then he found himself, man, on the mound. He just got comfortable, and he could command the baseball like no other pitcher I've really ever had, with just by working at it and repeating everything, his delivery, and it was amazing. But we'll be able to talk about Kevin many years down the road and how he got in shape, how he changed his body, got his mind right, the way he ate, nutrition. And I think it's going to help a player or two in the future here, just if they'll listen and look at the success he had. I think maybe not to the extreme that Kevin, the success that he had, but it's going to help make some of these players down the road better.
And you mentioned all the things that you guys did this season, just the uniqueness of this season and how you guys approach things on the mound and at the plate, and just how all that came together to get those 50 wins. Is this one of the more unique seasons in your coaching time?
Oh, yeah. If you really take a step back and look at it, we didn't have 3 conference starters that we just knew that every time we gave them the ball, we had a great opportunity to win. They weren't settled. We didn't settle in on anything. It was Patrick Wicklander, and then let's try this guy and that guy, and then we give the ball to Kevin, or use Costu or Monk in there a little bit. If you're really just talking about, we pitched about 5 guys down the stretch and maybe 6, and just because that's what was winning. That was the formula. I've coached a few teams that have won 6 or 50 plus, and we've always had 3 starters that we knew pretty much all year, and they stayed healthy, and had a closer, and we could hit a little bit and field. This team was a little different. We could really field, and we had some great days of play. We hit home runs and we walked. We didn't hit for a high batting average, but we faced some incredible pitching. Because of our schedule, we didn't load up on Tuesdays and Wednesdays where we were scoring 15 runs and getting 15 hits very many times, like maybe some other places did, and kept the average down. But yeah, this was very unique. I think the coaches did a great job. Coach Hobbs, Coach Thompson, Coach Wernes. We got them rounded up, and we figured it out, and we went with it, and the players bought in, and they played great.
All right, we'll come back around. Tom?
Dave, I'm trying to think your core guys, Moore and Wallace and Welch you've mentioned. You expect Battles to get drafted and sign. Who else is core guys that are coming back, and pitchers?
Well, Battles, I was texting with him last night. He's always kidding me because he wore number 2, and he said, "Coach, you're going to give up number 2 next year." And I said, "If you come back, I will." And he said, "Okay, good to know." But I don't see him coming back. I just think that the lacrosse people like him a lot, and they like his size and just the way he plays. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think you could see him gone before the 5th round as well. Braden Webb wants to come back. I think that could happen. Wallace, like you said, Welch, Ethan Bates. Ethan Bates is out in California playing summer ball, hit a home run the other night. Zach Gregory wants to come back. We're hoping Slavens will come back, and we've got some really talented freshmen coming in, and maybe a transfer too, I was asked earlier about that I can't comment about, but we just need to make sure we have it covered. We've got a couple of JC guys that are coming in, and we'll be fine.
Okay, and then I had a question about what NC State has done down the stretch and in the postseason and in Omaha, and just your thoughts about Omaha in general too.
Yeah, NC State, and I mentioned this when I saw the bracket, but I mentioned this a couple of times. We immediately said, if we win our regional, we're going to play NC State. They're going to win it. They were a preseason team, ranked in top 15. They got off to a bad start. They have a veteran team, very mature team. A couple of the riders, at least one of them, I think Aaron Fitt lives out there in North Carolina, and he's bragged on them since last fall when he would watch them, and so we knew that it was going to be a battle. It doesn't surprise me that they're winning up there because they don't really get scared. They're older. They just won 2 out of 3 games at Baum Stadium. It's not scary up there compared to here, the way I look at it. So, I'm happy for them. They played hard, and man, those guys really wanted to win, and they pitched incredible. So the World Series as a whole, to me, it's, the wind's been blowing out a lot. It's been chilly up there and blowing all over the place yesterday from what I saw and read. But it's been some really good pitching, a lot of swings and misses, a lot of strikeouts. I think there's some issues with the background there, seeing the ball and the time that they start the game. That probably is a little bit of it, but also the pitching is just incredible. And I don't know. It's hard to project what's going to happen from here.
Bob?
Sorry, Dave. I was having trouble with my mouse thing here. And I know that's a shock to everybody. How big a relief, or how nice a pleasant surprise was it that Paulette doesn't have a tear, and could he be, your number 1 guy next year, maybe?
Yeah, I think that he could. We're not holding our breath on that. We just want to wait and see how this goes. I mean, we're extremely happy on what's going on from the very first day that he hurt himself till now, because it didn't look good. Because you, as a coach, you see it and you kind of know how they act and react, and it just didn't. It was not a good feeling. But then they go in and they look at it. They think it might have a tear. MRI doesn't show a tear. They go back and they do the dye thing where they put dye in there, and usually it'll run to the tear. They did it. They sent those off to someone, actually two different areas, two different groups that are big time specialists in that area. They didn't see a tear. But doesn't mean there's not one in there. So rehab and then start to throw. And if he probably gets into summer, fall with no pain, he may be good to go. So we're excited about that.
And Connor had a pretty good freshman year, and then this year he was hurt, and that probably had maybe something to do with not starting well. What are your anticipation for him moving forward?
I think Connor threw really well at the end of the year. We had a lot of confidence in him. Ball was moving, keeping the ball down, had sink, secondary stuff was good. And I think Connor is I'm hoping, and from talking to him and being around him, that he's kind of on a mission to get back and be better than ever. He's staying here this summer, working strength and conditioning, trying to get in really good shape. The arm's probably not 100%, but we wanted to get there, obviously, and be ready for fall baseball. And hopefully he's going to do everything that I just mentioned, and he'll be ready to go. I expect him to be one of our better guys next year.
I think I read Andrew wrote this, but Bolden's in the transfer portal. Is that right? And was that kind of a mutual decision, or how does that impact you guys?
Yeah, he's in the portal. Probably really don't want to talk about it. So it's all good though.
Okay, I just got one more probably. I'm not suggesting you guys are going to win 50 games next year and go 22-8 in the SEC and run roughshod over everybody, but you've obviously got a pretty good, consistent track record. Well, what are your expectations for next season?
Well, I mean, it's like it always is. Come in and get better in the fall, figure out where we're going to, who we have once this draft's complete and kids have made their decisions. I think that'll give us a lot better idea of what we're going to do. I see us starting a few freshmen in the field. If we can get Peyton Stovall to come to school, and some of these other guys, Max Muncy, good chance he might sign. And I mean, I could go on and on. If we can get some of these guys to school, and even if we don't, we're going to play some younger guys in the field. We've got a couple, 3 freshman pitchers that I think they can come in here and get after you early. And so I think you're going to see a good mix of some veterans and some really young guys out there. And I think that we'll be right in the middle of the league in the hunt, so to speak, come next April. But yeah, so we still have to see where the dominoes fall and where we're at. But we feel good about the talent that we have signed, and if we can get them in here, the future is bright. And you think about the league. The league's incredible. You got 2 new coaches. We got a new coach at A&M. We got another new coach that's going to be at LSU. The league gets tougher and tougher, it seems like, every year. So, and we're one of the tough ones. So that's where we're going to be.
Thanks.
Coach?
Dave, I know you've talked in the past that the plan is for Wiggins to be a starter for y'all. Is that still the plan for next year? And what's the key? What's he got to work on to be that dominant starter that you hope he can be?
Well, I think a good start is him being invited to be on one of the team. There's 2 teams this year with Team USA. It's not a normal year, and they're going to basically play each other in different venues. So basically, one night you're going to wear white, one night you're going to wear red, one night you're going to wear blue, and they're going to play. But he's going to get to be around a lot of the top players in the country. A lot of them are going to be a year older than him, that are going to be after their sophomore year. Obviously, he's only coming off a freshman year. So I think that's a good start. So he can see all that and be around that. And hopefully that will help him see where he wants to get and speed him up a little bit. We would like him to start. And so he's going to start all fall for us. And, he just needs to work on secondary pitches some more. With time, I think the command is fine. His command was better when he started than when he came out of the pen. And so he feels more comfortable there. He's got great stuff. Better, he's got the body you look for if you get to pick one at this level and the next. So Jackson's going to be fine. And I think that he'll get every opportunity to start.
And then Heston Toll, what kind of role do you envision for him? And could he be a guy that gets extended into being a starter?
He's a strike thrower, obviously. His fastball, he increased his velocity 2 or 3 miles an hour from when he got here. But what he really did was he learned how to throw a slider for a strike, and it's a real pitch. You can get people out with it, finish them off, so to speak. So it's got a pretty good changeup. So I just mentioned 3 pitches. So why couldn't he be a starter? So, and I imagine that his velocity will go up another mile an hour or 2, and all of a sudden he's pitching 92, 93 with a slider and a changeup. Big, tall kid, strong, dedicated. He'll have every opportunity to be a starter. He could be a long reliever, spot closer. We'll just see how it turns out, but he's definitely in our plans.
And Franklin leaving, that leaves kind of a pretty big hole in center. Do you have any kind of ideas right now on how y'all will go about, filling that spot?
Yeah, we're going to put some guys out there in the fall, and who's ever the best will play there. So I know a lot of people will see this, and I'm not just going to tell you someone's going to walk over there. They're going to have to go earn it, and they will. But it's open, it's wide open, and and honestly, I could put Hayden Wallace in center field if I wanted to. The kid can really, really run. He's fearless out there, and we'll see how it turns out. But we've got some other guys. We've got kids that when you get a freshman in here, freshmen just want to play. Yeah, they might have played shortstop in high school, but maybe their first year in college they have to play, center field. So we'll see.
And then the last one I got, you mentioned Hayden Wallace. Do you anticipate him staying in the outfield, or could he move to third, or is he a guy that's maybe versatile enough to play kind of wherever, depending on who all you got?
Yeah, he's going to do both in the fall. He'll play third base. He'll play outfield. Professionally, a lot of the scouts like him in the outfield. They just think that just frees him up to swing the bat. We've got a great arm out there. So we'll probably just talk to, Hayden about that a little more, but we've discussed it. He doesn't really care where he plays. He's just a good teammate, and he'll play wherever we ask him to play, and whatever helps the team the most and gets another guy in the lineup.
All right, a couple more here, Clay.
Yeah, Coach, the lack of the midweek games, and you talked a little bit about it, and y'all kind of, the Nebraska series was lost, some others. Did that affect maybe developing some of your young pitchers, like say Starks and Toll, that when you get to the end of the year, you might have been in a different situation with those games?
100%. We talked about it a lot. It really, it affected Wiggins probably more than anybody. We'd give him the ball on a Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe a few more times, because down about the middle of the season on, we were using Kevin more. We weren't using Wiggins to close games. Wiggins, we were trying to make him a starter, and then we had, I think, 2 or 3 games postponed, and one was COVID, or 2 were COVID, and one was weather. And if you get maybe 2 or 3 more starts under your belt, we get to see more things, and could have made a huge difference. It's hard to say.
Would Starks have been that way too, maybe?
Yeah, Starks would have got to pitch more, that's for sure. I mean, he just needs game experience, and he's out in summer ball trying to gain that. I mean, it's not just about throwing 94, 95, 96 miles an hour. You got to be able to hold runners. You got to be quick to the plate. You just have to have a feel to be able to handle some of the situations. And that's what Gabe needs to continue to, as all of them do. They have to get better at that. And that'll help those guys going out this summer and gaining that experience, and just being away from here and all the pressures of playing at the University of Arkansas in the SEC, and they'll get better and come back, and we'll see it.
So last question, think your staff seem like there's always a change or two. You feel like you got some stability going forward with this group?
Yeah, I
Or is it
mean,
still too early.
yeah, I mean, with Coach Thompson and Coach Hobbs, I mean, there's always an inquiry here or there, but they want to stay here. I mean, these guys are they're really good at what they do. They're really good at recruiting. Players like them and respect them, and get that they have the player's best interest at heart. And yeah, I see us sticking together, hopefully for a while. And I always say this too: if there was a great job for one of these coaches at a big time Division I school to be a head coach, I don't want to hold them back, and I expect that. That's the kind of coaches I want in here. And when I do lose one down the road, I'm gonna go get the best guy in the country to replace him.
Thanks, Dave.
Seth and his hair.
Yeah, apparently. Dave, when you look at the past 3 full seasons y'all played, y'all hit a ton of home runs, breaking records. But you think about it, wasn't that long ago that teams weren't hitting a lot of home runs. Did you ever envision your teams just 10 years down the road breaking the Arkansas home run records?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't sit around and think about those things. I feel like that we've recruited some kids with power, and they're coached a little bit to get the ball in the air. That's kind of the way it is nowadays. You're not teaching kids to hit the ball on the ground and run. Now, if you got a guy that's his thing because he can fly, then that's what you let him do, and you do it a little differently. But the kids these days are bigger and stronger. We have more of them in our lineup. The bats are they're fair. The baseball is a lot better than it was back in, I don't know, the big seam ball. I don't remember when they switched it, but it wouldn't travel. It would get out there and just kind of drop. So the ball is a lot more friendly to hitters than it used to be. It had made our game better because the game got really boring there for a while, and the game's popular. We need to keep it there, and you're going to keep it there. Yeah, you need to have good pitchers and guys strike people out, and that fans like that, but they want to see some action too. And so I don't think that it's that we've changed a lot. I think just players are stronger. Coach Thompson's philosophy is to get the ball in the air like it is in professional baseball now, and percentages getting on base are better. Unless you're just a good runner. So that's what we're trying to do.
And you mentioned players are stronger. Do you think they're coming into your program stronger, or are y'all developing that as well?
It's both. Kids are just bigger than they were 10 years ago. They strength and conditioning is better at their high schools and summer ball. And, they have, a lot of them have, some personal trainers and different things they're working with. I just think kids are stronger getting here. They like the weight room, and we've done a great job. I mean, Coach Kinsley's done a super job with our team as far as keeping guys healthy. We haven't really, knock on wood, we haven't had hamstring issues. And obviously we've gotten a lot stronger and bigger, but it's more about strength, not about size. It's about strength and quickness.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Final question, Phil Elson.
Hi, Dave. You expect to move offices into the new building anytime in the next couple of months?
I'd say in the next 3 weeks, probably about 3 weeks. And, I don't want to move in there at all till they're 100% out. Construction's already going on, at least tear down in our area, not in our offices, but all around all the suites, because they're redoing all the suites, every one of them. And then our offices are going to turn into suites. And so when they get done over there, we'll move over there. So we're excited to get there.
Also, late in the season on a pregame show, you had told me that you felt, and I might not remember your words exactly, more energized and positive about coaching than you had in a while. I wonder if that was something that developed as this season went on, or if that was a mindset that you had already going into the season.
Yeah, I think what our conversation was, and I might have I don't know how we got started, but it was that it's more about, I always have the energy and excited to do it. Get up every day. I get excited about recruiting and whenever, if I ever lose that, I think is what I told you, then I won't do it. And, but I think more of the conversation was that, when you're a parent and you have kids, obviously you miss a lot of things with them growing up. And with me, it was girls, whether it was soccer or cheerleading or whatever, missed a lot of things. And now my kids are older. One's married, 27 years old, and the other one's 23 and just got engaged, but they're out of the house. And so I don't feel the guilt that I used to. So it's for me to get and go. Wife likes it. She loves it. Karen loves that I'm coaching, wants me to coach. She knows I really like the competition. I think that's more of what I was saying, that 10 years ago, you think, oh, I'll work another 10 years. Now that I'm here and I know where I'm at, with my family, I don't see the end in sight. I really enjoy it. I love the coaches. I like what's going on here.
Good. Last thing, I don't know if you'd mentioned Dylan Leach, and just it seems that he, has a lot of positives on both sides of the game. And just your thoughts on where Dylan can develop in the off season and what you see for him in the future.
Yeah, to me, and his name wasn't mentioned when I was asked the question. He's one of our core guys to get back, because we brought him in early. He wanted to come early. He knew he was going to back up Casey, wasn't going to play much, and he just wanted to learn from him. Now he's still very young. He's out in the California League. He's playing, and they like him. I heard he hit a home run the other night. When he got here, he was a switch hitter. We just felt like his swing from the right side was a lot more powerful. It was just a better swing, more powerful. That he's just right now he's focusing on hitting just right-handed. So Dylan loves to play. You saw the energy he brought when he played, and Casey taught him a lot. And I think it's going to help him going forward. So definitely expect him to be a big part of the team.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. See you guys.